All right, now I have sound. I actually started almost on time today. Man, I think, right? Everybody can hear me, see me. Man, I just woke up like a half an hour ago. Oh, just enough time to make some coffee. Oh, hey, Rod. I thought you said you weren't going to make it today. Or, no, you said it was perfect for you because it was 12 hours apart. Hi, Fotis. How you doing? I did hit go live this time. And I picked this time because I think in the last time people said that this was a better time for them too. So I'm going to try and live stream at two different times every week if I can. But we'll see. My schedule's so random. That's why I just don't like to set schedules because man, today I could have used another hour of sleep, um, or two. But let me shrink this window because I'm getting confused. I set up a dual monitor setup and I don't know where to look sometimes. Maybe just at the camera, right? Anyhow, today, thanks. Thanks, John. Oh, hey, John. How you doing? Chuck? Well, I see a lot of my regular commenters on my videos and community. So I have been using that community tab a lot more. It's a little bit awkward because it doesn't give like notifications that somebody left a message. So I went back yesterday, I think, or last night, and replied to everybody that left comments in the community tab that I didn't respond to. Sorry if I missed that, but check that. Hopefully, you guys get notifications when I respond, at least in the community tab. Hi, Serge. Like Facebook, right? I don't like to use Facebook. Um, no particular reason other than I don't like to keep track of everything. But at least that when I sign on, I get notifications right away if somebody's messaged me or liked a picture, whatever, right? And YouTube's community tab, it needs a little more work, but I think it'll get there. Um, oh, hey Dave. Yeah, the question is, did I ask Olympus about the M5 Mark III and getting an extra battery grip? And yeah, I haven't talked to anyone since the launch event, and at that time they said there's not any battery grip planned. Although it seems like there's enough pins on the bottom of that camera to add a battery grip. I mean, why not? Hi, good morning, Mark. So, anyhow, Facebook's an evil super tracker program. Yeah, I know it doesn't have a good reputation lately. Even here in the U.S., I don't know what it's like in other countries, but I never put anything on there. It's the old adage: if you got nothing to hide, then what's the big deal? I really don't have anything to hide, but still, uh, I guess there's some concern there. I had one client, they wanted me to take all of the pictures off of Flickr, even though it was a private link that no one else could see because they felt like the government was going to be tracking their images on Flickr. So I said, okay, I'll just give you a thumb drive instead. I thought I did, but anyway, um, what I want to do today was just follow up on a couple of things that's been going on this week. And then, as always, I'm happy to answer any question best I can about the Olympus cameras and lenses or even Olympus Workspace and a little bit of Lightroom if you have that. Uh, but yeah, I guess, I don't know. I finally got got scratched that itch about Fujifilm. And I bought this. Where is it? I'll show it to you. An X100F, and I took it out last night. I've only had it 2 days now, not even 48 hours, and it's okay. I put a little black tape on a couple places to kind of make it even more discreet, but it's okay. The first day I took it out and I got a few shots. It was a little bit late. And no, we're not going to talk about Fuji all day. I just wanted to kind of give an update what's happened since the last thing. I'm happy to talk about any camera brand though. I'm semi familiar with all of them, right? They're just cameras. I just like Olympus, and I can tell you, shooting with this Fuji the last couple days, the limited use, I don't think I've even taken 100 pictures on it yet, but it's okay. You know, I'm still struggling with the menus a little bit, ironically. Well, I guess not ironically, but I don't know how to get around and do things quickly like I do on the Olympus cameras. You know, if I want to change from color to black and white, I can just program a button on my Olympus and it's there. And I haven't quite figured out how to do that. Oh, well, you know, yeah, it's okay. I don't mean to say that it's a bad camera. Uh, it's just not wowing me over what I already have with my Olympus cameras. I mean, I think it's more of a testament to how good, you know, cameras are in general. But you know, I just know how to work my way around Olympus and I know what to expect. And it's, it was very awkward shooting with a Fujifilm camera. But, you know, the last Fujifilm was this, I bought this Fuji Fine Pix back in 2005 or 6. I don't know. It's been a long time since I bought a Fuji camera. And ever since then, about 3.5 years ago, I went to, well, I'm sorry, 6 years ago, back in 2012, when I went to the camera store. No, I'm sorry, 3.5 years ago. I went to the camera store to look for a smaller, lighter camera because I had migrated onto Nikon at that point. And the and I looked at the Fujis right next to the Olympus cameras, and I just liked how the Olympuses felt in my hands better. And I didn't know anything about really cameras. I didn't research at all smaller cameras, like what is micro four thirds even, right? Versus APS-C. I knew it was smaller, but I didn't, you know, it wasn't a factor in my decision making process. And it was this, I picked the EM10 Mark II over the Fujifilm XT10, I think was out at the time. And you know, because it was a little smaller and it was certainly cheaper than the XT10. And I said, okay, you know, because I didn't care. It was just going to be like a walk around camera for me. It wasn't going to be anything I did seriously, professionally, like I was doing with my D750. And that EM10 Mark II has definitely replaced that D750 in all my pro work and my personal, you know, photo walks and things. And you know, I have no regrets at all. But like I said, I've always had that itch about the Fujifilm film simulations. Because it just the images I see from that and the colors I saw were just amazing, you know, and people really do a good job with their Fujis. So I said, you know, so this X100F was like $800 used at the local store. I might return it though. I'm not loving it, you know. I'm gonna give it another day. I'm gonna go out today and tomorrow. Today's raining, but if by tomorrow evening I'm not a fan, still not a fan, I might just return it. Okay, so let's see. There's been a lot of questions here, and I've been talking about a camera nobody really cares about. Flickr, yeah, Flickr's awesome. I don't know why it's not more popular. I have a Flickr account. You should be able to easily find it. Just search Rob Trick, but I like how you can upload the full res images. You know, I'd like to be able to share that way rather than on Instagram. It's just not as popular. And yeah, photos, the classic Chrome is pretty interesting. I'll share some images if anybody's interested that I got last night. Do you have a video on mastering? Yes, Mark, there is a video on, I don't call it mastering. I just show everybody, I walk through all of the menu settings on the EM10 Mark II and kind of explain why I set each one. And I think I covered about 95% of every line item in the menu. It's about a 40-minute video, so you can check that out. Just search, I think it's called All My Menu Settings Explained. And you'll find it easily. It's one of my earlier videos, so I'm not very I don't know, it's very dry, but you know, that's still the case actually. When I do tutorials and things, I'm still very dry on camera. Um, why do you think the grip for EM doesn't allow you to charge the battery? Oh, it doesn't allow you to change the battery. Oh, you know, I didn't notice that if you have the grip on the EM5 Mark III that you can't change the battery. Yeah, Simon, I didn't pay attention to that because I didn't put the grip on while I was there. But yeah, that would be a pain, right? To have to take the grip off every time you want to change the battery. At least they put the memory card slot on the side. When I get my EM5 Mark III in, it's going to be in about 3 weeks, or God, it's almost about 3 weeks. I'll take it out and do a real world test, if you want to call it that. You know me, I like to just take the camera out and shoot with it, and if it gives me the results I want, then I try not to get too precise, like, you know, what's the noise level, how fast is the autofocus, because one, I really can't measure those things with any precision, right? I just look at it on my screen, I see, yeah, that's nice, and that's why the M10 Mark II replaced my D750, because for the images that I take, they were fine compared to that full frame camera, and that D750 is very well regarded, and make no mistake, that thing takes great pictures, but it's not small and light by any means. There are some very unique lenses like the 12-100 Pro, is that they aren't available on Fuji. I think the closest Fuji is a 16-80. Yeah, that's why I bought the X100F, because I don't have to worry about freaking lenses, you know? Man, if I bought the XT30 or XT20, oh my God, I would be so I would have to go all in, right, and start buying lenses. And they're not cheap. I mean, not that any lenses are cheap, but I'm not going there. I gotta get a compact camera that already has a lens built in if I'm going to buy a different brand, because then, you know, I've already maxed out my cards. I really don't need to go there. There's a lot to love about the X1. Yeah, I mean, it's okay. Like I said, I haven't even had it 48 hours yet, so I don't want to pass judgment on it for my use, because there is a lot of love out there for Fuji, and I guess it's justified, just like there is, you know, I love my Pen F. Honestly, when I put the Pen F right next to my Fuji, you know, I took the grip off my Pen F and I wanted to compare them. They're virtually the same sans this lens. And if you get the pancake lens, like I was looking at the Panasonic 14mm f 2.5 and the 20mm f 1.7, because those are very good lenses, right? For just picture taking and simple vlogging. But you can see, I mean, this is the kit lens, but the pancake lens are even thinner than this, and really they're almost the same thing now, right? It's hard to tell on camera, but I weighed these, right? And if I were to put the 14mm or 20mm pancake lens on my Pen F, this thing will weigh exactly the same as that Fuji X100F. In terms of weight and size, it's virtually identical. So I think ultimately my recommendation is going to be is get a Pen F with a pancake lens instead of the Fuji X100F, because I feel like the Pen F is a much better camera, and it costs less now. Yeah, Mark, you returned it too, right? I don't remember seeing you do a review on doing some live composite on the EM5. Oh yeah, Dave, I did do a live composite video that should apply to the EM5, particularly the Mark II. Let me go there 1 second. Let me open up my page, because people are asking me about specific videos, and live Oh my God, there's been no audio, so I've been just talking to myself for 10 minutes or so. Man, I wonder how many dislikes I got on this video now. Oh, I'm sorry. If I don't answer your question now at this point, just ask me again and I'll be happy to give you an answer. Uh yeah, with no sound is interesting, right? Yeah, I'm scanning, so I didn't get to them. And then if I'm looking over in this direction, yeah, I'm reading the comments right next to the camera. I put them as close together as possible, but even if it was right next to the camera, right, you can tell like when people are vlogging which lens they're looking at or what they're looking at. uh that was the last thing I talked about was the Fuji lenses. Okay, so no wonder because I was asking a tool. He was wondering about the going from the EM1 to EM1X with all his pro lenses, including the 300 millimeter. And yeah, definitely get the EM1X for wildlife stuff because it's definitely more well built and the grip is bigger, right? So those heavier lenses will feel a lot better in your hand and you'll get steadier shots. Plus, the extra stop of stabilization that you get at those long focal lengths will make a big difference. Even though you're at usually pretty high shutter speeds anyway, that super stabilization on long focal lengths will make a difference. Um, let's see. Yeah, I went to the keyboard in a back when I was showing off. Yeah. I think, oh, yeah, I went to the computer because, yeah, this keyboard, I got to get another keyboard. This keyboard is stressing me out. It's always like, if I hit a letter, I'll get like 20 of them at once. Um, but somebody was asking me about the menus, I think, about live composite. So it's episode 55 is the live composite tutorial, and there's an episode 164 where it's more of a real life test with some flower photography. But live composite tutorials episode 55. 8 minutes of silence. I know, right? I have yet to do a perfect live stream. Either I forget to hit go live button and I'm talking to myself for almost 30 minutes last time, and then today the audio went dead and I didn't notice, and that's because of this keyboard. This keyboard is ridiculous. Did I pick Trek because I like Star Trek? Yes and no. I'm a big Trek fan, and I'll have to tell that story one day because uh, there's a story to that. But uh, yeah, partially because the channel. If you watch my episode 100, I talk a little bit more about why I named the channel what it is. But long story short is because I wanted to trek, because trek means travel, right? It's kind of another word for travel, and I just wanted to go out with my camera, take pictures, and vlog at the same time, and that's why I named it that. But yeah, I am a big Trek fan, but it's not primarily why I named the channel that. Oh, you missed the question on highlights and channels, shadows. Yeah, the highlights and shadows do not affect the image quality at all. They're just indicators to when when things are going to start to clip. So you can set them to whatever you want. All it does is affect what you see in terms of clipping on the back of the screen. And I like to set them to the minimums at 245 and 10, so I know much sooner than later when things are going to start to clip. And then, like I said, you have to kind of pick your battles with high dynamic range scenes. Do you want the highlights, with more color and saturation, or do you want the shadows with less noise and grain? And then the highlight shadow feature kind of helps you with that. Uh, so don't worry about affecting image quality on the prints or anything you see on the screen, etc. It doesn't make any difference. It's just to help you with the exposure of the scene. I would not buy my Fujis again. I like them, but mostly use them with adapters to use old. Yeah. Uh, the that's why I'm not getting into Fuji. I don't want to buy an interchangeable lens Fuji, because then yeah, you have to get into all the lenses, and that's just, yeah, like I think you said, that's a rabbit hole I don't want to go down. What's the recommended ISO for live time? Uh, Live time. That's when you leave it open. That's when you leave the shutter open. Okay, it depends on the camera. I did some experiments for myself with really long exposures, right? And usually after about 8 minutes, when you leave the shutter open that long, the noise floor that starts to creep into the image, right? The noise from the camera's internal electronics start to creep in. And some cameras, that happens a lot faster than others. I can't remember which camera was a little more prone to that. But honestly, no matter which Olympus camera you take, and I think that's why they put that 8-minute default setting for long exposures in the live time, is because really you do start to see noise creep in after about 8 minutes. Because I've done like 25-30 minute exposures, and the noise that comes out is really a little rough. You're not going to do astrophotography for 30 minutes with a long exposure. So I would say 8 minutes, just like my silent at the time I turned the mic off here today. 8 minutes is about really all you want to do, maybe 10 minutes. And then you can experiment and see if 10 minutes is better. And always make sure you have the noise reduction on, not the noise filter, but the NR. It's going to double the time it takes for it to finish, but it makes a huge difference in the final image. Yeah, that's the right one, Dave. Episode 55. Do you do some long exposures in astro? Sometimes astrophotography is hard for me because you have to have all the right conditions, right? You have to have relatively clear sky. There has to be virtually no moon in the sky. And if there is a moon, that window when it's in the sky or not at night is different. And then the weather the weather itself has to be good, because you don't want to leave your camera in the rain for 30 minutes. And then it has to fit my schedule, because the closest place to me is 2 hours away, where there's not any light pollution. Because I tried a few times in my backyard, and I can see the North Star, but that's about it. Most of the other stars are grayed out. But I would love to do more astrophotography, especially with some telephoto lenses, actually, so I can catch that Andromeda galaxy. But there's a guy that does, there's a lot of channels, I think, that do astro that do a great job. But I might do a tutorial on it with our Olympus cameras when I get a clear night and it fits my schedule. Yeah, it's nice that Panasonic and, yeah, Al is saying that there's two companies for Micro Four Thirds, and yeah, that's always, competition is always good in general, to give people choices, right? I just went with Olympus. The Panasonics are too utilitarian for me in terms of looks, and I would say that's probably 80% of my decision making process is how the camera looks. I just don't like to buy ugly cameras. Yeah, Chris, I wish the pen line got the update like the M5 Mark III. It would have been pretty awesome. Honestly, all the pen needs right now is, a little better autofocus and a mic jack for me. I know most people don't care about the mic jack, but that would make it really my go-to camera all the time. Now the M5 Mark III is going to be my go-to camera, but usually 10 cent. Oh yeah, Rod, the for astrophotography, I was talking about really long exposures where you do stacking and everything. But if you want to do astrophotography in a single shot, yeah, 10 seconds, 10 to 15 seconds, depending on your focal length, is about all you can do. I think with a 8 or 9 millimeter lens, about 15 to 20 seconds, and then if you're using a 12 millimeter, really 10 to 15 seconds is about all you can do before you start to get some star trails. No, I don't have a telescope or do any images that way. It's always something in the back of my mind I wanted to try, but then really if I'm going to go all in on astrophotography, I'm going to get a star tracker too, right? And start stacking the Andromeda galaxy. I mean, I see all the Andromeda galaxy pictures other people do, and I want to be able to do that myself, but yeah, that's a whole other area. I want something to take out on the occasional rainy day, the M1 Mark II. Is the old weather resistant but slow 12 to 50 a good idea for wet? It's a little bit slow. You're going to be shooting at 12,000, 25,000 ISO all the time when it's late and it's raining. If it's daytime, you'll be okay. In the daytime, let me see. Let me check. I just did a shoot where it was kind of dark. It wasn't raining, but it was very similar conditions in terms of lighting. Let me look at my images. I'll just share it. Let me see. I think it was yesterday. So let me pick my pen. These were kind of light. This was pretty, well, this was pretty dark and cloudy. Let's see what ISO I was at. ISO 500, 17 millimeters at f2, 1/60th of a second. So, wow. So if you're at, let's say you're at f5.6, that's 1, 2, 3 stops difference. So you'd be at 1,000, 2,000, 4,000. Yeah, so for shots like this, where it's kind of cloudy, let me look at this one. This one was in the shade. This shot was f2 ISO 25,000, and it was relatively dark, very similar to a rainy day. You would be at what, 5,000, 10,000. You'd be at ISO 20,000 with this shot using that 12 to 50 lens. So yeah, I would, if you're fine with really high ISO shots, and generally I am, and if it's raining, you're not going to get tack sharp pictures anyway. But yeah, it'll work. I hope that answered your question to some extent. Yeah, just shoot at higher ISOs. Okay, so let me close that window. Nobody cares about my stupid pictures, really. All right. If you are a Star Trek fan, thank yourself by watching the Orville. Oh yeah, I love Orville. I don't know if I want to subscribe to Hulu, man. It's stressing me. I have to subscribe to Amazon Prime, and I canceled my Netflix, but as a photographer trying to make a living off that, it's, things are a little tight. Starving artist kind of thing. I mean, I love it, and I wouldn't have it any other way, but I'm not like those other big channels where you can make a living off photography for real. I get by because I'm very frugal, more or less. Not when it comes to gear, but everything else. I'm very, very frugal. Like A keyboard is only $20 and I desperately need a new one and I'm stressing over it. A $6 or $10 a month subscription would stress me out. Should I upgrade my OMD EM1 Mark II or can I be happy with... Yes, that's really, they're still their top of the line camera. I wouldn't upgrade from a Mark II for any reason. Technically speaking, in terms of image quality, stabilization, ISO performance, there's nothing, and if you stay in the Micro Four Thirds line, there's nothing to upgrade to. We used to go out to the Everglades for dark skies. Oh my God, yeah, the mosquitoes. Man, you have no idea. Well, obviously you have some idea. Wow, mosquitoes are... I can't go out for 5 minutes without getting a dozen bites in my own backyard. Even to this day, it's raining today, and it's semi-warm. I mean, I got like... Well, anyway, you get the idea. I get mosquito bites constantly. I'm like a magnet. Someone's asking if I do an Astro video. Eventually, like I said, there's so many conditions to do Astro that it rarely fits my schedule when all the conditions are right, because it's a 2-3 hour drive for me to get to anywhere where I can actually do Astro. So it turns into a day or overnight trip for me. I tried long night exposures. Yeah, the shutter noise, like I said, you can't... I did some Astro with my EM10 Mark II, and it wasn't bad. I mean, I wouldn't say it's the best camera ever to use for Astro, but you can do it and get good results. A lot of people do. I just have to practice a little more to see what's the best way to get a good Astro photo, because you're a little bit more limited with the Micro Four Thirds in terms of how much light you can bring in. And lenses, right? You need to get a 12mm or the 8mm fisheye like I did, which is an f1.8. And then there's third-party options, which are great, the Laowas and stuff. Yeah, you're lucky to see 7 stars at night. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, video in Panasonic is pretty awesome. It's definitely, if you're video-centric, you should get a Panasonic. If you kind of do 50-50, either camera's fine, Olympus or Panasonic. But if you're a little more serious about video, I think Panasonic's a better choice. Yeah, the P1000 is kind of a one-trick pony, right, for astrophotography. Yeah, you would take one shot. And that's kind of my problem with astrophotography is in addition to all of the conditions being right and my schedule matching those conditions, you only get a few shots out of the whole night, really. At least that would be my workflow. It'd be hard for me to get more than a few good shots. Oh, you have a tracker on your Astro, yeah. Condensation, yeah, I could see that. But here in the wintertime, you know, it's so dry, I don't think condensation on long exposures would be an issue. Does the RC mode work on Olympus? Yeah, they just added the RC mode on the EM10 Mark III in a firmware update. So if you don't have it in your menu system, you may need to update your EM10 Mark III to get that RC mode. But it is available now. I guess enough people hammered for that and they added it. I did look at a dot site, Ed, for the Olympus hot shoe. When I was at the launch event, they had one there. It's really cool. I mean, it wasn't. I don't know if I could use it though. It's kind of weird having to hold the camera out using the dot sight. But if you're used to, you know, composition that way, or composing your images that way, or if you can get used to doing it that way, it was pretty cool. I do have a picture of that from the launch event. But Matthew Gasquet does a good video on that. So search his channel on, I think he's called Mirrorless Lessons. That's his website anyway. He does a really good review of that dot sight thing if you want to check it out. But I looked at it. It was really cool, and it uses its own battery, and it has little dials on it to tweak where the dot is. It was spot on. Man, that thing, that wherever that red dot was, it was spot on. There's a YouTube vid. Oh, sorry. Oh, don't worry, Bernardo. I'm used to broken English, so I can usually make out what somebody's trying to say, even if the letter the wording's all mixed up or missing words. Don't worry about it. I'm jealous that I don't speak any other languages. I just don't have the brain capacity anymore. Hi Rob, I have the 14 to 150. Yeah, it's a great all-around lens, no question. I haven't had any lens creep issues, and the only zoom lens I really have, well, no, I have a lot actually, but no, I don't have any issues with lens creep, but I don't have those super zoom lenses. When I had them for my Nikon, yeah, lens creep was a problem. So they sell these rubber bands for the larger lenses. I haven't seen them for our smaller cameras. But some people, they use a rubber band to hold their, those wide, thick rubber bands to hold their lenses. So it seems kind of awkward to me, but yeah, I haven't had any problems though. But I would imagine for those super zoom lenses where they extend way out, yeah, that would be a problem. And I think that's regardless of brand, because the front lens element is pretty heavy, right? Oh, you're welcome, Tool for Toys. No problem. No sound. Yeah, I fixed it. Uh, Amy, I think that's, or AIM. So you're probably a little bit further back. I've seen nice wooden ones. I'm not sure what you're referring to, Rod, about wooden things online. I assume that's a grip or something. Oh, okay. Yeah, see? Sometimes it's user error, right? When there's no sound. Uh okay, you're welcome, Mark. I forget what question I answered, if any. Okay, so any other questions about anything? I'm feeling good today, actually. Like, I've been giving legit answers for the most part, except for the Astro stuff. I don't do enough of that. But yeah, somebody was I forget his name already. Ah, anyway. Hopefully the stream is still working. Oh, you're welcome, D or Di. Diane, is that right? Or Deanne? Oh yeah, trying to emulate classic Chrome. I'm gonna try. If you look at these images, let's see, where are they? Here's an image from my Pen PL8, and then here's a classic Chrome image. So let me get rid of this. So right away, just ignore the exposure, because I'm still, like I said, I'm still trying to learn how to use that freaking camera. I don't know why the exposures are so off. because I set the metering for center weighted, so it should have exposed this better. But I also did some highlight shadow adjustments, so that might be causing these images to be very different. But here's the Pen PL8 on the left here with the 17mm, and then this is the X100F over here on the right. But I do, you know, ignoring the exposure, I really like the colors that I got there. And that's what's kind of changed my mind about this camera within 24 hours, right? I like I said, it hasn't even been 48 hours since I got this camera. I'm like, okay, maybe I'm starting to see maybe where these Fuji film simulations are kind of coming into play. And I have a few presets that I want to try too in Lightroom. But I'm going to try and emulate these colors in Olympus Workspace too. But I don't know if it can be done easily, because as lighting conditions change, the film simulation might change as well. But yeah, I'll try. Just for fun. You know, I do it for myself as much as I do it for the channel. RC mode, is it work with the Godox? No. RC mode, Bernardo's asking, does RC mode work with Godox? No, it does not. The RC mode is an optical trigger from your camera, if you attach a flash or have a built-in flash, to other Olympus cameras only. It does not apply at all to any other brand flash. So you have to get a radio trigger for your Godox if you want to use it off camera reliably. It'll work off camera with just optical, but it's not reliable. Oh, wooden hot shoe cover. Oh, that's interesting. That would be kind of neat looking, right? Add a little bling. Oh, let's see. If we just had stores for hands-on experience, buying online feels like gambling. Yeah, I know. Like I said, I'm very lucky. I have a great camera store nearby, and they have 3 branches, you know, within 10 miles of each other. Just to give you some perspective about the density of population here and the noise that's around here. District Camera in Arlington, Burke, and DC has been awesome. There's an Ace Photo that is very good too, but that's way out in Herndon. That's an hour plus drive for me, which is not bad, I guess, but because I would go there if I didn't already have District Camera right next to me. Oh, no, I really don't, Jack. I really don't use my D750 at all anymore. I was asking a friend of mine yesterday if he wanted to buy some of my old F-mount glass. And he's not interested. He's going to switch over to Z-mount altogether. So I'll probably always keep the D750 body because it's only worth maybe $500 on trade at most. And I'm going to definitely keep some of my vintage Nikon glass, but all of my new F-mount glass that I have, my 20mm f1.8, my 85, my 70-200, all that stuff is going to go. My 150-600, I got to sell all that stuff before it's worthless. Is Olympus Workspace? It's okay. I mean, Olympus Workspace, the question is Olympus Workspace good for raw files? It's not great. It'll bring the image in, but if you have to push and pull highlights and shadows a lot, it's terrible. It's terrible. I have not been able to, and maybe I don't know how to use it yet, the right way. I have not been able to get my highlights and shadows to come in very well. I can't think of a free alternative because I haven't tried any to Olympus Workspace, but I think Luminar is like $60 to $100 in that price range. I think is an awesome alternative because I have played with that a little bit. And of course, Lightroom is way superior but that's $10 a month, so that's not everybody's cup of tea either. But for raw files, it's okay. If the exposure is pretty close already to what you want, and you don't have to push and pull highlights and shadows a lot, you'll be okay. Otherwise, yeah, it's a pain. Do I have Workspace? I'll pull up Workspace. I'll do a demo on that. Yeah, the Z-mount glass is, yeah, really nice. My buddy Walter, who he was in my last live stream, and he doesn't live far from me. He's all in on the Z-mount now. He just bought a D850 and then bought the Z7, and now he's not using his D850 anymore. Oh, good, Mark. You got the M5 Mark III on Amazon. Awesome. I can't wait. My God, November 21st, it's crawling. Normally the days fly by. I don't know why. But now that when I'm waiting for something, it's like every day is just crawling. So if I just keep doing videos and live streams, maybe I'll blink and it'll be November 24th and or 21st in no time. Yeah, Andreas, I would say download the free 30-day trials for Luminar. Capture One's a little pricey, but that was an awesome photo editor. And my buddy Walter has a channel for that. That thing was, I used it. I did the 30-day trial and I used it extensively for 30 days. And the only reason I haven't switched to that is because it doesn't layer photos too well in terms of in my professional work. And that's the only reason I use Lightroom is for my pro work, not for anything else. The new update on Workspace. No, it's the same. I just updated it. I don't see any difference. I didn't read what the updates were applying to. Maybe there's something in there that's new that I haven't seen yet. But yeah, I use Olympus Workspace for 90% of my personal photos, and it's fine. But then again, I'm pretty happy with the exposure when I took it. You know, I've gotten to where I get the exposure I want in camera, and then in Workspace, all I have to do is tweak a little bit, or apply an art filter, or crop, you know. So, I mean, not that my images are all that amazing or great, but when I open them up, now, more so recently than before, I'm very, very happy with the exposure and composition, and I just have to do a little light crop and tilt. Have I tried the USB raw data edit in Workspace? No, I haven't tried that. I haven't tried that. It should work with the M5 Mark III. I'll test that out when I get that. I think Peter said it made a big difference though. Peter Forsgaard, he did do that in Workspace, and it made a big difference. You know, my computer is very, very fast, so I've been content with that. And I don't like to plug things in and out of the camera unless I have to, you know, wearing out the plugs. So I haven't done it for that reason. But if your computer is sluggish, you know, like if it's a, you know, just slow, try the raw data edit in with the camera attached. I'm curious to see if it's a lot faster. I guess I can try myself, but my computer is already pretty fast. I love Camera Comes seriously, but I think he sold us a little short on his. Do you think he could get better exposure results? Yeah, you know, I think if you saw my video, I put up the very next day after his because I wanted to replicate what was happening with him. I think you commented on that it was better. Yeah, like anything, you know, you have to learn how to understand the camera and the kind of images you get out of it, and then how to adjust it to get what you want. You know, it's just like this Fuji film. Like I said, I haven't even had this 48 hours, and you know, look how dark this this image on the right is from the Fuji film. And the exposure settings, I believe they were exactly the same. they had the same shutter speed, ISO, and uh, yeah, and what's the other thing? Aperture, right? And that image was a lot darker, so I need to figure out what I'm doing. But yeah, you know, you can't just spend like 10 or 15 minutes with a camera and get everything you want to work. Now that said, I think there's some I think there's some credibility to the fact that, you know, a consumer goes out and buys a camera and it should just work when you get it right out of the box and do what you want. Uh, that doesn't that doesn't mean don't learn how to do exposure and learn how to use a camera properly. But I can understand some people's frustrations with any camera when they get it and it doesn't do what they want. Uh, you know, the eye auto mode, the autofocus on our Olympus cameras, not the autofocus, but the eye auto mode is terrible. I mean, it works okay when the lighting's even anyway, and really, you know, any camera can take a good picture when the lighting's good. But when the lighting gets kind of weird or high contrast, eye auto mode gets it wrong all the time. And so I get it. So I don't give anyone that reviews a camera right out of the box without doing anything but put it in auto and it doesn't do the right thing. I get that. Camera companies eventually will get there where it'll be able to do that, but right now I don't think we're there. And like I said, people still need to learn how to do exposure to get the best results. Yeah, raw therapy I've tried. Darktable I've not, as far as free things go. There's a learning curve with any software though. Yeah, Affinity, I'm not familiar. I think that's a Mac only software. I haven't used Affinity. Oh, you want to add text? Oh, Robin's saying that he or she wants to add text to the photo. Uh, yeah, that would be kind of cool, right? There's another app that I used a couple times that's really good for Windows. I don't know if it's available for Mac. And it's free. It's called, I think, Lightscape. Let me look on my computer. And that's only because it does a lot of artsy fartsy things. It has a lot of filters that are free. What the heck is? Maybe it's Artscape. Let me see. I haven't used it in a couple months. HIJKL. No, it's not Lightscape. Crap. What is it called? It'll come to me later. This other app that's free. It's called something Scape. I know that. I can't remember the first part. It was Artscape, Lightscape, Photoscape. Maybe Photoscape. Yeah. Let me look. Yeah, Photoscape X. That's free on Windows and it's pretty good. I mean, I don't know about pushing and pulling shadows. I just used it for the art filters, but you can put text on, and I think it's yeah, it's really good. Where did we go here? In Workspace, when I crop, I can't get cropped image to come. Oh yeah, Pete. In Workspace, I'll show you. I know exactly what you're talking about. That got me the first time I started using it. Let me pull it up for you. There. Let's see. Pictures 2019. How come nothing's showing? Oh, I got filters on. Oh, there we go. All right, so let's just grab any image, and then you hit the crop button, right? And let's say I don't want. Okay, with cropping, you need to make sure you select the aspect ratio that you want. Otherwise, it's freeform, right? But I always like to have a fixed aperture. I hope you guys can see this. And then I'm going to crop like this. So this is the cropped image, right? And you could hit enter and everything, but what all you need to do is go back up to your edit tab here on the far right and click on a different tab over here. So when you go into crop mode, it shows you the whole image, but then you have to click onto one of the other edit panels, art filters or cameras, and then the cropping will show. Okay. Let's see. Wow, there's a lot of questions popped up. Okay, Pete, I hope that answered your question. Let's see. EM1 Mark II with a 12 to 42.8 Pro, still thinking of getting a 17. At my level, am I duplicating equipment? Yeah, I would only get the 17 1.8 if you need that faster aperture. Otherwise, the 12 to 40, yeah, covers that range. I use it because I do a lot of night photography. You know, streets and photo walks and things at night. So that extra stop and a third makes a big difference. But if you're just general photography, no, don't get a 17 if you already have a 12 to 40. You know, size and weight aside, right? The 12 to 40 is weather sealed, etc. Like it's pouring rain out today. I might take it out today for a photo walk. I hope you're still going to do drive-by. Oh, the drive-by photography, yeah. Uh, I will. I just been kind of bogged down with everything. I got family in from out of town and all kinds of stuff. And plus the weather hasn't been great. But yeah, I really like the drive-by, you know. Just pulling up to places and taking a picture of it, then moving on. It's a lot of fun for me too. EM5 Mark III might not work with Workspace USB edit because it has no USB micro. Oh, the USB-C. Yeah, I'm curious to see if that makes a difference. I don't think it will, because the Fuji uses a USB 2.0 jack, and it works with the same way, where you can use the X Pro processor in the camera in their software. So I don't think there's any technical reason for it not to work. But we'll see when I get mine in. And Peter might know. I don't know. He may have had return the camera by now. But you can ask Peter Forsgard because, you know, he's really into that kind of thing too. Okay. Olympus does not have a lens hood for the 14 to 42 easy, so I Okay, this is the terrible audio from the computer. Let me go back. This. All right, so hopefully we have audio again. Crap, I hate that. This is really stressing me. I'm gonna go buy a new keyboard. I can't do live streams where this is So I'm sorry if I didn't answer your question again. Just ask me again, because I don't know exactly where the audio cut out. Yeah, it seems like every time I touch the freaking keyboard, the audio goes. So this keyboard's gonna go. I might go out to Best Buy. God, I hate to pay, but anyway. Let's see. I don't know. Anyone have any idea where I left off before the audio dropped? God. Oh my God. I'm gonna have so many dislikes on this live stream. It's not even funny. Well, it is kind of funny. Donate to my channel. Yeah, I appreciate that. God, some people actually made some awesome donations to my channel. Man, I appreciate that. Cause yeah, I buy all this gear, but I've maxed out my credit cards. I don't make a lot of money. I mean, I make a few bucks off the real estate. I make a few bucks off this channel, but yeah, I'm really penny pinching these days. Only out for 5 minutes. I need to have a. I need to adjust this workstation for live streams so I can know right away if the audio's gone, or keep checking the level meters. Oh, so when I was talking about the lens hood, how did that happen? So that was way back. Okay. Yeah, you didn't miss much. All I did was talk about the subscription model on software. It's give and take, right? You get updates all the time versus when you could buy software. Sometimes they only update for about a year. That's all I really said, but much more animated. Yeah, I love Logitech. Logitech keyboard. That's the direction I'm going to go. I want to get a Bluetooth one though, so I don't have to, use up a USB port. A headphone jack. I know, right? But then I'll look like one of those radio DJ guys. I got these awesome headphones though. Man. Yeah. Now I look legit, right? Like I'm going to live stream. I'm totally legit. But these headphones have a little bit too much bass. They're not like studio headphones. So things sound weird on here for voice. Okay, any other questions? Looks like things are slowing down. If there's any other questions, just let me know. Otherwise, I think I'll end it. Yeah. Yeah, thanks, Mark. I try. I appreciate everybody's patience. Man, I tell you, you guys are so nice. You guys are so nice. I look pro with those headphones on. I know, right? How about if I'm holding a mug? Now I look like a DJ, right? Oh, man. let's see. Do you really need an EM5 Mark III? If you're asking me if I need one, I don't need one because I have an EM1 Mark II. But I'm buying it for three reasons, and I've stated it before, but I'll just repeat it. One is I just like how the camera looks. You know, I'm kind of vain that way. Two is I need to update my channel with the newer camera because, you know, the EM10 Mark II is getting long in the tooth, and I'm not buying an EM10 Mark III, so the EM5 Mark III is their newest camera, and I think that's a good place to pick up, you know, the content for my channel and do tutorials. And then three, I really do need a smaller, lighter camera for vlogging and photo taking, right? And I normally take out my Pen PL8. This is what I took out last night, actually. Is I took my Pen PL8 out with the 17mm, and it has this mic jack, and well, my little mic adapters are charging, but I have a wireless mic set up. And but that's why I'm getting the EM5 Mark III, is because of the lighter, smaller body, but awesome autofocus, right? Because autofocus on the contrast is a little spotty sometimes. It's not bad, but it's a little spotty. Oh, thanks, Dave. All the news that is the news. Oh man, I haven't heard that in a long time. I mean, I can't even remember where that's from. I look like an airline pilot. Better than F-Stoppers. Do they have a live stream? F-Stoppers? I've never checked. Their channel's okay. I don't connect too well with the hosts on the F-Stoppers channel. When I watch them, my attention span's not very good with them. And, you know, like I said, everybody has connect with people differently. I just didn't connect with them. Well, you know, Queenie, I would say if you're going to be pushing and pulling, I'm not familiar with Affinity, but if you're going to be working with raw files and pulling shadows and pushing, or, you know, pulling highlights and pushing shadows a lot, Luminar is the better choice. If you're pretty comfortable with your exposures and composition, Workspace is fine. Work with that for as long as you can until your images are, you know, you're having a hard time pushing and pulling shadows with your images. If you're not having any problem with that, then Workspace is fine. Yeah, the new EM5 looks awesome. Oh, the hood for the yeah, I just bought this 46mm. It'll say it right there. 46mm metal lens hood that just screws in. So the 46mm means the ring size, and it just screws onto the front. And I don't get any vignetting or shading from this particular length. So this is the way to go. And I like metal lens hoods because it protects the front element really well. And it's just the right length. Yeah, what is Affinity? I thought that was a full-fledged photo editing software. I don't understand why you would want both Luminar and Affinity. If you could elaborate on that, I'm curious. Okay, okay, someone's asking how much do I use Workspace versus Lightroom? I use for actual editing my photos, like on my photo walks and all of that, I would say 99% I use Workspace. And that's because I'm at a place now where I'm really happy with the exposure that I got straight out of camera. I got the exposure I was aiming for. And for my pro work though, in real estate, I have to use the Lightroom Photoshop package. That I would say I use 100% Lightroom Photoshop for my pro work. And it's not because of the push-pull ability. Like I have to do a lot of editing. The problem I have with the reason I have to use Photoshop is because I can layer images together, and I have to layer flash shots together with ambient shots, and I layer and blend those together, and I can't do that in Workspace effectively. So that's why I do it. But yeah, Workspace I use all the time. If I had to push and pull shadows at a lot, like when I first got started, uh, with an actual DSLR, decent camera, I went with the Lightroom, Adobe, whatever that cheap version is that they have, the consumer version. It's called Adobe something. That I paid like $79 for it. Adobe Photoshop something. It's the light version, and that worked great for me. I would recommend that highly. But because it's just a slightly trimmed down version of Photoshop that you would buy a subscription for. So that's definitely, I forget what it's called, Photoshop, because I haven't used it since getting the subscription. Oh, thank you, Dave. Yeah, Photoshop Elements. Photoshop Elements is pretty awesome. The only downside to that software is it doesn't use the graphics card if you have one in your computer. So it's a little bit sluggish on some of the operations. But for general photography, I would highly recommend Photoshop Elements if you can get it for like $79 or less. Yeah, Elements rocks actually, because it has the photo stitching and everything. And I tried to buy, actually about a year ago, before I subscribed to the Photoshop Lightroom package. I did the 30-day trial on Photoshop Elements because I wanted to see if I could just get away with that for my pro work. Because in terms of editing, it does the same job as Lightroom does, right? That you pay for month to month. But I could not. Again, I ran into the layering issue or something. I ran into some issue that I do all the time in my pro work that the Photoshop Elements did not do very well. It did it, but the workflow would have been too difficult. But I think for 99% of the people that are just editing their photos, Elements is great. Yeah, Photoshop Elements. That's what I'm talking about. It's like I said, it's like $79. It goes up and down. I've seen it for like $49 sometimes. I think $99 is the full price. So if you can get it for anything less than $99, I think it's a good deal. And it has some cataloging features in it that I think are superior to Luminar. No, I haven't used Affinity. I haven't used it. Yeah, there's no need there's no need to give me the Affinity to try out. I'm really happy with Workspace. Uh, I don't really need much else than that to edit my photos. If uh, if I need to, I can use Photoshop, right? That I'm paying for because I know that'll do everything I need in my pro work. Oh, thank you, Arnie. Wow, I appreciate that, whatever that is. Thanks. They're very kind. Uh, yeah, I don't know if you guys heard. My mic might have been out of muted or something, but thanks everyone who donates or contributes. That helps me out a lot. I mean, not so much financially. Any dollar, every dollar counts, right? But in terms of like the my inspiration or motivation and happiness, right? Even if somebody gives $1, it's like it makes my day. It's like, wow, somebody, just people commenting on my post or leaving feedback of any kind, positive or negative, makes my day. I'm so happy that I'm able to engage with people and people take the time to write something, whether it's positive or negative. And that's you can't put a price on that. And then when somebody actually donates $1 or whatever the amount is, it floors me that someone would do that for me, because I'm not a super expert like an Olympus visionary or like Peter or Robin. I'm just a guy with a camera. And yeah, I kind of, and a little bit of a geek. That's why I kind of got into all the settings and everything. Raffling my old cameras off. No, no, I have a hard time letting go. Like, I still have my Sony NEX and all my film cameras. I have a hard time. I'm starting to feel like I can let go of some of the lenses I have for my Nikon stuff. But yeah, the bodies themselves, even if they just become a shelf piece, I can't let go. What make is the 46 millimeter? I don't even know, to be honest. Maybe a Photo C. I'll go into my Amazon account and look. Hold on, okay? I lost sound again. Dang it. Now where's the did everybody see that? Did everybody see the lens hood? I hope. Mark, did you see the lens hood picture? Yeah, every time I touch the keyboard, that stupid mic goes dead. So I'm gonna get a Bluetooth keyboard today. Yeah, sorry about the sound coming in and out. That's just yeah, that's really annoying, I know. I mean, I can't hear it when it's off. I guess nobody can, but I don't know when it's on and off unless I'm really looking at the screen over here. I got a dual monitor set up. God, my desk is such a mess. Okay, good, Dave. Yeah, that was a hood cam design. So I hopefully that helps. Helps you get the right one, because there are some that are longer and a little bit shorter. You want to get it just right, so it's long enough so it doesn't cause vignette, but not so short that it doesn't do anything. Thanks, Arn. Yeah, I appreciate that. I have no idea, I appreciate that. I'm very flattered and humbled by any donations. That's just too kind. So I'll stay on 5 more minutes for more donations, but no, I'm just kidding. um, yeah, like I said, it's more about just it just makes me so happy, whatever the amount. Somebody made a huge donation though the other day, like $50. Oh my God, that was shocking. I need to email them back. I just don't know what to say sometimes. My God, thanks, Ryle. That's very kind of you. I really I really appreciate that. Oh, I can go get a milkshake now. I love that milkshake I got on one of my drive-by photographies. And I went to that bar. And if anybody has like a legit question about photography, I'll do my best. Um, Do I use an IPS or TN monitor? I use IPS monitors. One is the laptop. I assume that's IPS, and then this one here is the laptop. I don't know. I'll just show you. I don't know if I can do this without. This is an old AOC monitor. That's one of these super wides, and then this is just my laptop, right? Oh, that's cool. Look, I'm getting like that weird effect that you get. Anyhow, I'm using the EM1 Mark II with the 25mm lens. Milkshake and beer. Oh my God, I know. That was a mistake. It really wasn't worth it. I guess it was for the, I don't know. Yeah, that was rough. AOC, do they still make monitors even? I bought this thing maybe 6 or 7 years ago. Oh, you're welcome, Ryle. I try. What camera do you have? Which one? Do you have the EM10 Mark II? That's what most of my viewers have, is the EM10 Mark II. Because I try to focus on people that are just getting their cameras, and usually it's an EM10 Mark II. If they get Olympus, they buy the the basic entry level camera that looks good. I mean, it does everything, and if you watch if you watch my early videos, I talk about the EM10 Mark II because I wanted a small and light camera that did everything my Nikon did. And that's why I bought it, partially feature-wise, but I also liked how it looked. Let's see. Oh, thanks, Mark. God, you're so kind. Flying Fish bought an EM5 Mark II and the Olympus battery manufactured in Vietnam swelled when low on juice, making it difficult. Yeah, I know. I haven't had a problem with any Olympus original batteries. Those things have been rock solid for me. No swelling at all. But the generic batteries, definitely, it's an issue. Like I said, you have to be careful with how fast you charge those things, because heat is what makes them swell, and they don't have a real heat pin in them. Because the batteries, they have those 3 pins in them. I talked about this in the last live stream. But one of these pins is for telling the camera or the charger if the battery's overheating, and then the charger in particular will reduce the charging rate so it doesn't get too hot, which would cause the battery to swell. And I think that's why these batteries don't swell. Now, if an Olympus original battery is swelling, it might be because that heat sensor pin is not working anymore, or it just swelled up faster, because the camera should tell you that the battery's overheating if that's the case, and shut off. Oh yeah, as far as generic brands go, I did some research into it, because I just buy I pay like $5 or $10 a piece for these generic batteries. For my EM1 Mark II, I only use originals, but in like my EM10s and everything else, I buy generics. And as soon as I start to get the slightest bit of swelling, I chuck them. But as far as brands go, Watson, and not Wasabi, but Watson, and there's another one I think called Evergreen. But don't rely on the word evergreen, because there's probably 10 companies that use a similar or exactly the same name. But Watson, Watson, was reviewed and compared, and was the only battery that kind of met the same specs as or similar specs as the original batteries. And this was a guy that was doing Fujifilm reviews. And he compared, I don't know how many batteries, but that's where I learned about that pin with the heat sensor, and he talked about all the individual pins, and he had all kinds of testing equipment, and Watson was the only one. So you still pay about double the price that you would for a generic battery, but probably still half as much as an original Olympus battery. And if you don't need like a lot of batteries, just buy one more original Olympus battery as a spare. If you need to go through batteries all the time like I do, I just buy the cheapest one. Okay. But no, Wasabi is no better than any of the other generics. Because he tested the Wasabis as well, because that's a very popular generic battery brand, and it was no better than any of the other generics. The only thing you have to be careful with is when they claim, say, 2,000 milliamps, it's probably not. It's probably half that or less. So the milliamp claims are rough. When they claim a similar milliamp to what the original batteries are, you can probably believe that to some extent. But ultimately, buying generic batteries is a roll of the dice. And as far as in-camera charging, no, I never charge the battery in camera because of the heating problem. Even if it's an option, I probably won't do it on my EM5 Mark III either. Okay, Mark, take care. Thanks for coming in. Yeah, Vivitar sucks. I bought Vivitar batteries for my Nikon back in the day, and yeah, they sucked. They didn't swell up on me. They died before it even had a chance to do that. And the Nikon is very finicky about the amperage that it can draw from a battery, and if it's not perfect like the Nikon originals, it'll lock up on you. Yeah, the original batteries from Olympus, I've had no issues at all. So, okay, well, God, people are still coming in. If I haven't answered a question that you asked, just ask me again, or if you have a new question, I'll be happy to answer them. But I hate to leave when there's so many people still watching. Guess I could tell the story or talk about cameras. That's why we're here, right? But I do have a Star Trek story that's pretty good. Since someone asked me that very early on. How about USB battery charger? Yeah, the USB battery chargers are fine. I've bought many chargers that are USB. And if you go to my Amazon page or store, let me show you. I'll just go there for you now. Let me bring up that page again. I don't even. Sorry about that. I did remember to check the sound this time because every time I touch the keyboard, now I lost my page here. All right. Yeah, never have a battery unattended. Yeah, I have a little power switch that yeah, sorry about the keyboard. But you can see it under here. That power switch controls all of my chargers on my charging station. I don't know if you can see that. Ugh. But I got about 15 chargers over there of varying types. And when I'm in the room, I turn this on and it only affects the charging station. And then when I leave the room, I turn that thing off. Well, that's a lie. I turn it off when I leave the house. When I'm home, I usually leave it on so everything charges. But yeah. Yeah, battery safety is really critical because you never know. Even, like there was a big boat fire because they think somebody was charging their phone, and it caught fire. Yeah, Dave, yeah, that Cam Design lens hood is just standard threading for any lens, as far as I know. I guess there's some standard for lens threads that everybody can follow. The Mikey lenses. No, I don't have any personal experience, but David Thorpe, he's done a review, I think, on the 35 millimeter and the 50 millimeter, and he liked them. So go check out David Thorpe's video on the Mikey lenses. He did a good job, and his channel's, he's like my age or older. He's actually older, so he'll kind of give you the same, I guess, experience as you would get on my channel, but a lot better. He narrates a lot. All right. Any other questions? I'll try and do a highlights video. I didn't get a chance to edit the last live stream I did on Thursday, but there's a lot of people that catch the live streams later, and they don't want to sift through a couple of hours of stuff. All right, good night, Rod. I guess I better call it. If there's no other questions, I'm gonna go. Anyone? I just noticed my teeth kind of look like a beaver's teeth. All right. Anyway, thanks again to everyone that joined. I really appreciate that, and especially the donations. My God, that was very generous. And we'll do another live stream, I think, on Thursday at 3:45, and then I think Sunday morning works for most people too. But I could do these every day, really. But you guys have a good weekend, or what's left of it, okay? And then a last second question. No, there's no development on the Pen F. It's over. Hopefully they'll come back like the Beetle did, right? They stopped making it, brought it back, stopped making it, brought it back. The Volkswagen Beetle. Hopefully they do that with the Pen F. I really hope so. So, all right, guys and ladies, thanks so much for joining. We'll see you again soon, okay?